The introduction should be something like you saying something like,
Welcome to the coach's office. All right, we're back. Welcome back to the coach's office podcast. We're here, what is it, Tuesday, the 5th? Finished up the Krypton games this past weekend. It went really, really well.
it was sweet, man. The venue was sweet. The whole thing you just put on this weekend, you, your team, the crew, man, shout out to the crew.
Yeah, I couldn't do anything without all of them. We had so many people ready to help, and it was great. That 12-lane rig got set up in like 4 hours.
Yeah.
That was like a rogue fitness crew right there.
Yeah, it was no joke. And even like the deconstruction of it was pretty impressive. The whole event was sweet. Are there a couple things that stand out to you?
I would really love to use that venue for a competition in the future. Just a side note, that stood out to me. Like that venue was top-notch venue, like the Virginia Beach Sports Center. They should definitely use that for a CrossFit competition. That's just the first thing.
Like HQ should look into using this.
Yes, absolutely. So and it's a brand new building, so they definitely can.
Do you know how the semifinal
How they get
sectional
picked?
Get picked? Or
I don't know. But they should definitely consider this spot. It was great. My biggest thing is I wanted it to feel like a regional for a semifinal for anybody that has never competed on a stage like that. It was really cool to have all of the equipment the same as it would be on the floor at a games level competition.
Yeah.
It was really fun, and we got to use the indoor track there. They had a 200-meter indoor track. One of the events started with a 400-meter sprint relay, and it was fun just seeing people get after it. And they ran faster than they ever did because there's it's indoor short track. So they're going to run a lot faster than they normally would at the gym.
Right, and a little springy on it, too.
Yeah, it was a little springy. It was a lot of fun. And then,
it was a really fun event to watch, too.
Yeah, all the events were short and fast just because I had to fit them into one day.
Yeah,
so
multiple scores.
I wanted to get a good test, like a decent test. So we had 7 scores, but they were on the floor 3 times.
Do you think you would change anything about the individual tests now that you're looking back on it?
I wanted to take one a little bit longer. Like the first event, I wanted to make it longer. But I couldn't because it would take 5 hours to run 10 heats.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
yeah.
I cut it down to a 15-minute total cap and added an extra element in there into the workout.
Right.
So that was the best I could do with the time frame that we had.
Yep.
Maybe next year we can do a 2-day event. I don't know. We'll see.
It seems like the buy-in has enough for a 2-day event, and the area has enough to entertain people for that night as well.
Yeah, a lot of hotels right on the beach.
I mean, yeah, you're half a mile from the beach. You're I know that area of Virginia Beach pretty well. There's like 4 or 5 really nice restaurants right there that would be fun to go to, a bunch of different coffee shops, and then you can do the tourist thing. You go down to the boardwalk and just walk, and it would be legit. Like I can envision something sweet coming from
I'm going to say that I've been to a lot of different regionals, and it was the nicest venue.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of
with the warm-up areas, the bathrooms in the warm-up area. Like it was without a doubt.
It was really nice. The regional that was in Atlanta all the time, and that nice. Convention center was dope. Don't get me wrong.
But it was too big.
It's like the biggest convention center of all time. And when you're in just a gigantic warehouse that's just a square room, and then you're making it. You're sectioning it off with curtains and bleachers and those sorts of things. It didn't have the feel that this one did because everything was built in. The bleachers are right there. The stadium's right there. The track's right there. Like it looked like it was meant for a CrossFit competition, which is pretty interesting.
Yeah, that is true.
And the regionals didn't have that, but that's sweet. That was really sweet. I've heard a lot of good feedback from the event. So
yeah, people seem pretty happy with it and said they're coming back next year. So we're trying to keep it every year, and we'll do it again.
Yeah, I thought about wanting to riff on something with you, not on the podcast, but maybe we can try it real quick, and it'll either be bad or good. Who knows? But on my way there, I was thinking about making a T-shirt and selling it called "Support Your Local Comp," and that's just cheeky, support your local comp, whatever. It could be a phrase, it could be a hashtag, it could be anything. But I started thinking, does that matter? And in the CrossFit community, we have sort of, or actually I might just be speaking for myself. I have personally written off the local comp.
How so? Okay.
I just don't know I don't look for them. I don't try and compete in them. I don't even know when they're happening. I don't know who throws them. I'm not even sure
That's
if
true.
any of the other gyms.
They pop up every now and then, but maybe you don't hear about them like you would.
I never know about them.
Okay.
I find out about them on a Friday night
when people are going from the gym.
When people are going to the gym the next day.
Yeah.
That's all that I know. But so the local comp is being supported, but like it's not to me, at least, it doesn't seem as valued, but it seems like a very valuable part of what we've been trying to describe, the symbolic nature of what this thing actually is. The little guy, the normal gym guard,
why
whatever.
Competition is important. Yeah, I think it is important.
That's what it is.
You have to have these local competitions. Yeah, for sure.
Why?
Well, it's because you have to be tested. You have to compete. You have to have a reason for going. That might be one of your reasons why you go to the gym and try to get chest to bar pull-ups instead of pull-ups, because they show up in your local competition.
Wow.
Something like that.
Yeah, that's really good.
So they give you a goal to reach for a little bit further.
That's really good. I like that a lot.
Because otherwise you're like, oh, why do I need to do chest to bar pull-ups?
Yeah.
I could talk to the guy and say, or the person and say, yeah, we want to have that strength in that range of motion.
Mm-hmm.
You just want to be capable of getting there with your shoulder positioning, because a lot of people are really tight, which is true.
Right.
But then that's also not a good enough reason for some people to want to do it. So it just gives people another reason as to why they should try to get a little bit better in the gym.
Yes.
That's just my thought. No,
that's really good. And I kept hearing like a couple of the dudes that come to like the 4 o'clock or the 5 o'clock PM class that I'm close with at the competition on Saturday be like, I'm just going to send this. Like I'm about to black out. And they're like, what do you think? I'm like, that's a bad idea. Don't do that. And I'm like, but go 97%. Like go as hard as you possibly can. But obviously, and and this a euphemism or something, like they're not actually trying to black out, but
I don't know. Maybe Nick is.
Well, I think freaking Chris really meant it. I think like he was, like, oh, running with his eyes closed.
I'm gonna die on this floor.
Yeah, that's right. Pull me off of here. But
I'm like, hey, we only got 4 minutes between events. You can't die on the floor.
Yes, that's
we're running this thing to the minute.
We'll at least move you. It was, but it had me thinking how intriguing it would be if there was like the buy-in happened again, because it happened in the beginning, like the local comp. I supported the local comp in the beginning of my sort of entrance into CrossFit, right? It was like, hey, do this thing, and you start doing it, and then it's like, hey, there's this local competition, you can be tested, and you can also see where everybody else is. And it was like, yes, sign me up. I did it. It was called Beef a King Fit.
Okay.
Beef a King Fit.
That's random.
Say it fast.
Beef. Oh, okay, gotcha.
And it was in Spotsylvania.
I said it fast in my head first.
Yeah, it was in Fredericksburg, and I remember it like it was yesterday. So it builds memories. It does something more than just test yourself. Like I remember the people that were there. I remember why it was important. I remember, my family coming out and supporting it. I remember.
It's like running half marathon or marathon or going to a 5K race.
Yeah.
People always come out and support and do the same thing because it's like something in your life that you're training for, that you're working towards, that it's your goal.
Mm-hmm.
And you go out and you support people that are passionate about it. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I mean,
it is. Really
you're right.
cool.
It's important. I think it's important.
Yeah. So maybe I will make that shirt. Support your local comp.
That's good.
You should
I like
make
it.
that shirt. I don't know why I would make it. It doesn't.
For the Krypton games. Yeah,
Should make it
be
for
a
the
good
Krypton games.
game shirt.
Yeah. It is very fascinating to me that
But this is all. Yeah, ours was all for a specific cause. You know, it wasn't just supposed to be a local competition. It's
right.
like it was a charity.
Right.
That was the whole purpose.
Yeah.
So,
dude, laying the floor on Sunday though is something. As somebody that works for a ministry that does fundraising, that that has fundraisers, right? I don't know if I would have done Sunday, like, for that extra cash to give away. Like, I would have, I probably would have taken that out of the revenue and like paid the venue to do it.
do you want me to, I'll tell everybody.
Yeah.
So the venue cost a certain amount of money for the day, and set for Saturday, and they had to put this 1 foot by 1 foot tile flooring down for the volleyball or the basketball or whatever court is going to be on the track after us. So 70,000 square feet. So 70,000 tiles of 1 foot by 1 foot. And they said that if we put it back down, they would cut the price in half for us. So meaning St. Jude wouldn't have to pay half of the cost of the facility.
Yeah.
So, I mean, me and my dad were like, let's try it. We'll get bodies and we'll just go and put it down. And we had 50 people show up, and we're close to 50 people.
Yeah. No.
Took us like 6 hours. It normally takes those guys
2 weeks.
2 weeks to do with 2 people. If they have a team, they can get it done in a couple days. We did it in 6 hours. So got the, yeah.
Don't get me wrong. Or
it was a lot of work.
You had the right people, right?
We did.
It's the right people.
But it's funny. It's that same person. Why is it all CrossFitters want to do that stuff?
Yeah.
They're
remember
up for the challenge.
The challenge was, and the challenge was steep too. Like, it wasn't. I mean, that you just said it was It's 70,000.
I put the time lapse up.
pieces.
Yeah, I put the time lapse up on my story. It was a lot.
It was no joke, and it wasn't. It was actually fun though. Like, it was, or fun. Fun might be the wrong word. It was not awful.
Oddly satisfying.
Yeah, oddly satisfying. Exactly. Sort of cutting the grass. Like, I don't really.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. I left being like, man, next year they might want to just pay somebody to do that.
I was more tired after that day than I was after the competition.
Yes.
I was smoked.
Yeah. Yep.
Didn't help that it was the day after the competition, but I'm glad we did it, and that we raised a lot more money for the cause. So
that was incredible. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
pretty sure we hit our goal.
Number?
I don't have a total yet, but I know we were over our goal.
That's great.
So we're gonna continue this online competition we have this week, and then next week we'll see where we're at. So yeah, the online competition's going until this coming Sunday. Teams of 3, they can do the same events from the competition if they want to compete.
Oh, nice.
At their home gym. So
nice.
Yeah.
Do you think that the teams that competed strategized well? Like, do you think they knew what they were getting into, or how much strategy was needed?
So I didn't say anything about strategy for these events on purpose before the event. We could have released our video of us doing the event, and we finished in 8.5 minutes on the chipper in the first part, and we rode like a 6:33. So we did decent. We had Laura on our team, so it was 2 guys and a girl, so it was different. It wasn't all 3 guys or 3 girls. And we had a really good strategy, and our strategy worked well. So there was a lot of strategy in play that people didn't use. I don't think they really thought about it. And I wanted people to think about it. Like, I wanted these events to be, they were different. And I think they were so different that people didn't know what to do with them. That they're like, oh, I'm just going to go row a 2K.
Right.
And let the other 2 do the movements, and I'm going to suffer on the rower. And I'm like, oh, if you had 120 teams that all had good strategies and that was your strategy, you would get dead last.
Right.
Even though you might have rowed a 7:10.
Right, you lose.
Because you know that if you have 3 people rotating through on a rower, you can go faster on a 2K, even if you have 2 people or another person working on a chipper. And I think it was in part, people don't do workouts like that at their home gym.
Yeah,
like,
true.
Look at the teams that, I mean, none of the Krypton teams knew these events at all.
No, and I was,
but they all finished on the podium. And it's
this is a segue for 1 second. I watched you finish one of these workouts. The only part that I saw was some set of muscle ups happening, and I was like, "Oh, what'd you just do?" It was, "Oh, we just tested the Krypton Games workouts." What is it? I can't tell you. And I went, "What?" You're like, yeah, I'm not going to tell you. I was like, seriously, like, what was the workout? And you didn't tell me. And I was a little butthurt about it. I was like, what the heck? Like, what do you think I'm going to tell anyone? Or,
Hey, we're not the CrossFit Games. We don't, we
like,
don't leak events.
Dude, can you believe that?
Yeah.
That is crazy to me.
I can believe it.
I guess I can believe it too. But I'm also like, bro, what happened? Like, you fire this man's and your whole thing falls to shreds. Just, man. Man, shout out to Dave Castro for running a tight ship. Like, bro, shout out again. I know I did it in the last post.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard workouts.
But anyways,
in the past,
back to it.
Anyways. Yeah.
They were all secret. That matters
Yeah,
because
we kept them,
who podiumed.
Yeah, because I didn't want it to be unfair. Nobody knew about the events. We tested the events when nobody was here. And maybe for one of the events we tested, but I didn't tell anybody what we were doing.
It was interesting to me that Silas Braden and that other kid got third. Because I don't think any of them have been training.
No, they're just fit. Like, they just come in and they just do the workout of the day.
Yeah, like Silas is a regular Joe Schmo that leads Young Life with me. That's been a good friend. Went to Great Bridge, where you graduated from. Did like nautical engineering or some crazy whatever. Great dude. Love this guy. Starts dating this girl. She decides she's going to be a runner or run. And signs up for the half marathon in Virginia Beach. And he's like, I'll run it with you. And they're like, what? Like, no way. And he's like, yeah. So we like went out and ran like 3 or 4 times and then just went and crushed a half marathon. And they're
awesome.
like, oh, this CrossFit thing really does get you in a place to where you can just go out and do that.
Yeah.
Relatively speaking.
Yeah, and you say
can do that.
You say relatively speaking, you'd be fitter than 95% of everyone else that's out there.
Yes.
Running.
Yes.
Yeah, which is pretty cool. Like, yeah, it's just a testament to a lot of different things, but one of them is that you can just come into a gym, a good gym that has, that programs well, has good coaching, and you get really fit. Just doing the workout of the day.
Yes.
That's the way it should be.
Yes.
And that's what I want to bring back. That's why I offer our programming to the public.
Mm-hmm.
Not like for free or anything, but
right.
Like,
right,
we
you can pay for it.
Programming.
It's not that, it's not that expensive.
No, it's not at all. But that's why I do that, is because I want to offer what we offer to our athletes to anybody, so that they can follow that and they can see just follow it for a couple months.
Right.
Watch what happens to your athletes in your gym.
Yeah.
They're going to change completely.
100%.
Some of them will leave. You'll also probably gain a couple, but that's what I'm saying. Like, some of them, that's too much of a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
But again, like we talked about before, that's the place you have to be the one to set the bar. Like, your coaches set the bar.
Yeah.
And they have to set the bar at a certain level that's attainable for some, but not all, because that's how it works. That's just the way that things are. Right. But yeah, I think it's impressive that they can do that. But if you want to go back to the programming for the event, how it was, I wanted to program in a true team of 3 event. Yeah. Not like I go, you go, your partner goes. Right. There was only one event that was like that, and it was a run. Everybody can run. Right. So I wanted to program something that there was a lot of technical skills, but there was also teamwork. Like, you were better at something than the person next to you. They can tag you in for that portion of that event, and then you guys can flip-flop, but you have to play to your strengths. You want to try to play to your team's strengths. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to make something different, and I don't think that happens very often in the CrossFit space. Normally it's because Dave's always programmed different team events. Mm-hmm. It's always synchro stuff, or one partner goes and the other partner goes and the other partner goes, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Sorry, camera malfunction.
We're good.
The reigning undefeated team series, right? You guys never got beat, right?
No. Yeah, would we win 3 times in a row?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were those events like that? I remember, like, you go, I go, but like also I remember that one time you hit that triple at 245.
No, they were always No, they always did the typical team format, but we have done so many team workouts that I knew how many reps we should do and how we should transition to maximize the power output of the workout.
So that was the game.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because I remember that first year, the teams there were like 3 teams where it was like, oh, they could definitely win. Now, they could definitely win. And then yours sort of was sitting there as this like dark horse that no one was counting on, right? And you've lived that life, but part of that is also because you didn't want the spotlight in the way that, like, did you want a camera following you around all the time?
Mm-mm.
Not in the beginning, at least. And there
I
are a
don't
couple
want one now,
right? And so there are a couple people that allow cameras to follow them around and intentionally do that, and so there's a little bit of like who's marketable, who's not marketable,
yeah,
and
sure.
why.
I'm not marketable. That's fine.
Well, you are. You don't want to be. Or
I
you
share
chose
what I know with the people that want to listen.
Yeah, or you chose not to be. That's interesting.
I choose.
We should.
It's not like I'm
Right.
Yeah.
I'll
share whatever.
You were very strategic with what you said, when you said it, how you said it.
Sure, which I think you need to be, but that's why this podcast is just an experiment.
It is a good experiment.
It's literally just an experiment. I don't know who wants to listen, who's going to listen.
Well, it was interesting with Kevin is living in Fredericksburg right now. I was like, I was talking to him at the Krypton games, and I was like, where are you at? He was like, Fredericksburg. I was like, I'm from Fredericksburg. He was like, I know. I listen to the podcast. And I would have never thought that. I was surprised.
Yeah.
But it was, but anyways, coming back to the team series thing, I did Karen yesterday, which was the class workout.
Mm-hmm.
And for my brothers that are listening, thank you for listening. Karen is a CrossFit workout. There were this set of workouts, and they all had girls' names. Karen was one of them. It's 150 wall balls. A wall ball is a medicine ball that weighs 20 pounds. It's a medicine ball that weighs 20 pounds. Your goal is to take that medicine ball, pick it up, squat below parallel. When you stand up, you then extend at the very top of standing up to almost where you're jumping, and you're throwing the wall ball at a 10-foot target onto a wall. So you stand up, you throw the ball at the wall. The ball is supposed to hit the wall and bounce back at you, and then you catch it again. That is 1 rep. You then squat again below parallel, back up, throw the ball. The ball goes to the 10-foot mark and comes back down. You do that 150 times. That is the workout.
That's your workout. That's it.
In the team series, there were 4 workouts that had to be performed. It started with Karen. You got selected to do Karen. You did all 150 wall balls unbroken. Had you done that before that workout?
No, not before that workout.
Do you remember this?
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember what you got?
No, I don't remember.
All right,
it was low 4s. I don't remember what it was.
I'm almost positive it was 434.
Okay.
Almost positive.
Okay.
So yesterday, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go for it. I'm going to really go for it. I'm going to try and go unbroken. And I'm going to channel my inner team series, just feels from watching you do that. And I got to, guess where I broke? And don't be like, I broke early, and it was
72.
75, you dirty dog. I appreciate that.
I was debating between 84 and 72.
So I went 75.
Okay.
And then was like, I'm going to go for it again. And then after 20 was like, I'm out.
That's crazy how,
I did 20 the second set, and then at that point I was like, I guess I'll just do like quick 10s or something and see what happens. It could have gone a bunch of different routes. The finished at like 5:25 or something like that.
Still fast.
That's a good score. I used to challenge people at the Globo gym that I was a personal trainer at to do this workout. You know, if they were like, oh, you know, like, you're not a good trainer, you don't do this, you don't do that, whatever. I was like, all right, come do this workout, you idiot. Like, see how fast you can do it. I bet you can't do it. I bet you don't even finish. And I had 0 people finish. Everyone quit.
Mm-hmm. It's funny. It's a flashback story. Here you go. Back in college, I trained in half in my backyard. So I built a pull-up bar and built a little platform out there and did weightlifting, did the rope climbs in a tree, that kind of thing. So I trained half in there and then half at the school gym. So whenever the school gym was open and I had time, I go over there and I do all my weightlifting. And there's some YouTube videos where I'm doing workouts in there and making all kinds of noise and doing weird stuff, you know, that kind of thing. The typical CrossFit stuff that nowadays is totally normal. That there's a whole CrossFit section in the gym nowadays, which wasn't there when I was there. Anyways, but I would have fun by going there and all the guys that did like the bodybuilding and the curls and they're like standing in the mirror and just looking at themselves as they're doing their workout. I would be doing whatever I was doing, like weightlifting, squatting, and then I'd do like burpees or burpee pull-ups or something silly. And people would watch. They'd look over, and some people occasionally would come up and say something. I'd be like, "Yeah, hop in, let's do this workout." And I'd make something really short. We do like 15, 10, 5, hang, power clean, burpee, and toe to bar, like real short, fast workouts. Same thing happened. They would start. They'd get like, you know, a minute and 45 seconds in, 2 minutes in, right where you start, everything starts to just suck, right? Where you start really feeling this like feeling that you don't normally feel on a daily basis.
Yes.
And they just slow down and then they stop.
Yeah.
Occasionally people would finish.
Yeah.
But it was hilarious. I loved doing that. I loved finding other people at the gym and just saying, "Hey, come on, hop into this workout." And they'd like grab a friend and I ended up working out with 4 or 5 people that I had never met before.
Yeah.
But
wow.
just, you know, crush them in these workouts, and some of them liked it and a couple of them would come back for another one, but most of the time 95% of people just walked away, never did it again.
Oh yeah.
Or at least that I know of.
Oh yeah.
But those were fun times at the gym, and same thing would happen. They would just not want any part of it.
It's super fascinating. I don't know, what do you think that is? Like, why not finish? Why start this thing?
They didn't have a reason for it. Yeah.
You know, like, why bounce? Because it's not like they're at muscle failure. It's not like they ran out of time. It's not like at this point, it's pure able. It's, I don't know, fortitude. Like what it. So I did the same thing. I did the first CrossFit workout I ever did was Fran in University of Mary Washington's athletic gym.
That's such a hard workout to be your first workout.
It was my first workout.
Yeah.
And it took me like an hour and like 15 minutes because I hit muscle failure. Like, I remember after
on the pull-ups or
on the pull-ups.
Yeah.
And like I was doing like my set of 9 took me like 35 minutes. I'm not kidding. Like, I didn't know how to kip. I was miserable.
Mm-hmm.
But I did. I mean, it is like this. It's this weird thing. And like,
how were your reps?
Probably awful.
Were they awful? That's funny. I worked backwards. So the first time I did Fran, I think I went like 345 or something.
You're lying.
No, I couldn't. It took
3 minutes.
345 or something like that. But I could not make it through the set of 15 unbroken on the thrusters. Couldn't do it. I could always do the 21-21, and then I couldn't make it through the set of 15 on the thrusters. And it took me doing Fran 4 times before I could get unbroken on the thrusters in the middle set. But my reps, like, they weren't quite. My squats were to depth, but then, you know, the lockout's kind of like out in front of you, right? Yeah. And I was doing kip and pull-ups at the time. Just I watched, like, Spiel do kip and pull-ups.
Right.
And I practiced them and didn't. Like, I didn't test the workout until I knew I could do it fast. Yeah. And I was like, all right, I'm going to try to go 3 minutes.
Yeah.
And then, it was like it took me a while before. But I worked backwards, meaning, like, my reps weren't quite as good. And then I worked over time to improve the quality of my reps. Right. But my speed stayed the same. You know what I'm saying? So, like, the second time I do it, it's like the same time, but the reps were better type deal. Yep. Same with Grace, like one of the first ones I did.
Yeah, it's interesting. Do you have any more? Because I've mentioned to you, like, these stories are sweet and people want to hear those stories. But previously, you know, in a, hey, Ben, you just won this regionals event. You know, how does it feel to beat the rest of the competition in that workout? Pretty good. I like winning. Like, what other type of answer?
What are you gonna say?
What do you say, right? So, like, I'm fully charitable to, like, all of the, like, ridiculousness of, like, the critics of you and your public appearances in your CrossFit career. Like, it's all whack. There is a, like, and granted, like, maybe some people, few people are able to manufacture some type of, I don't know, charisma in 40 seconds on the floor after a workout, but very few people. Like,
I think it's just a story. Like, you make up a story. Like, people like following stories.
yeah, I don't know,
So
maybe
if you're like put yourself out there constantly and you do it in a way that people like, they'll
Right.
follow you.
and the questions that you would get asked then were stupid questions. They're yes or no questions. Hey, how'd that workout feel for you? Good.
Yeah, it went well.
What do you want me to say? Like,
Right.
ask a better question. And I really do think that's a huge, that's a big problem, right? It's I call it the ESPN problem, where they flash like a Chiron at the bottom
like,
of the.
Yeah, you just graduated like in your graduation, right?
Yeah.
You're walking off the stage and someone comes to you with a microphone. You have 10 seconds. How do you feel?
Right,
Like,
exactly.
what am I supposed to? Great, I just graduated. This is what I've been doing for 4 years. So
That's right.
Okay, cool.
Right. And then for years, Disney paid people $50,000 or $60,000 in a free week's vacation to say, I'm going to Disney World. Fun fact, did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Yes, dude. I think you
I
should
was
look
wondering
up
where
this.
that started.
You should look up this
people always
figure.
said
They
that, yeah.
started paying people at the end of, they
Smart.
would sign a contract, and at
That's
the
really
end of
good.
whatever it was, this World Series or Super Bowl or whatever it is, what are you doing?
Mhm.
I'm going to Disney World.
That's so smart.
Yes,
That's such
dude.
good advertising.
It's genius.
Yeah.
It's really, really, really genius. And
Man, that's good.
yeah,
Yeah.
I know. It's
love to be
manufactured though, but another reason why, like, some of this sort of folds into my thought process right now is this long form, what Joe Rogan did with the super long form, like, he would just get high or drunk or, yeah, it was one of those two. I don't think he was like doing anything else, but and then interview people that he would just talk to people he wanted to talk to. So he's doing things he was always doing, talking to people he always wanted to talk to. Started with his friends, cutting it up, whatever it was, and it turned into this thing where people wanted to listen to a conversation work itself out, verbally process itself into
Some people want
coherence.
that. Yes. Some people want that. Some people just want to hear what other people have to say. Like, they want other people's opinions so that they can formulate their own opinion. Some people.
Yes.
But yes, I love watching those. I like watching people have discussions and there's a back and forth and they're both open to learning something, and then they bring something out of that conversation that was greater than what they started with.
Yes.
That's what I like watching or listening to.
I wonder, because I didn't go to college. Is college like that at all? Like, when you're like in a lecture or something like that, like, what is a lecture in the first place? Because, like, are you like sitting in class and there's a professor and they just talk for an hour and you're responsible for taking these notes and they don't give you anything? Or
some classes are like that where you're just taking notes for the hour and a half that you're in there.
So I mean, high school was not like that. Nothing,
No, they like when you're in, you're more responsibilities placed on you to do your work in college than in high school. Like, in high school, maybe the teachers will kind of follow up a little bit more to get your work done.
Yeah.
You're more lenient. But like in college, if you don't do it, it's on you.
Yeah, they don't care.
But there's not much difference. No, I wish there was more. There's back and forth if you wanted it. Like, you could follow up and you could go talk to your teachers or TAs or things like that. But I learned a lot from the textbooks.
Do you like when you're learning nowadays, like, here's maybe we'll talk about this and be done. I don't know. What are you learning right now? How are you learning right now? Are you looking at anything right now?
That's a really good question because I wish I was learning more. And what I value so much from that time in, like, let's say in school, was that you have time. That you don't know that 10 years down the road when you have, a kid and a wife and a puppy.
Yeah.
It's like, look, and you're running a gym and you're putting on competitions, things like that, and you're training for your job, whatever. Like, you don't have time.
Right. You're trying to compete, like you said.
You just don't have time. And you don't have the brain bandwidth to manage all of those things.
Like, I don't want to say I had a breakdown today, but like I had a very vulnerable moment with Julianne today where yesterday I was gone most of the day, and then today, like, I have another Young Life meeting tonight, and like the time, like 6 to 9 at night is like kind of sacred, like time with my daughters, time with my wife, time with dinner. Like, all of these things mean something. Like, think about, you want to talk about the disintegration of meaning, or you want to talk about meaning crisis, let's talk about how often families eat dinner together. If you're not eating dinner with your family every night, you're going to have a hard time.
Yeah, I mean, you're missing something, I think.
We could do a podcast called
have to be every night,
Dinner
but
Time.
it's like,
it does not have to be every night, and granted,
it's good, yeah.
There are reasons why this is not happening. You can set all of those aside. Just think about how special dinner is. Or we can go to the symbolic nature, how special eating together is. You might even use the language of how special breaking bread together is. And then you could even go a step further and say, this is my body broken for you. It works. I am telling Julianne, so I was out last night, and then I'm going to be out tonight. And then, so last night I get home, I'm like, hey, why don't you go out this morning? Instead of me going and going to work, essentially, you go and get your stuff done that you wanted to get done or whatever it is. And that blessed her immensely. She got to do a bunch today. Instead of watching our girls, I did. But like, maybe over the course of the last like 3 or 4 weeks, something's been mounting in me to the point where like today she got home and it was weird. I like sort of this welled up of I said something. What did I say? I said I think I'm really, really sad because I'm realizing I don't have enough time anymore to do everything that I need to do. And I don't get sad. And I'm curious if this is sadness or if this is like, and why am I sad? Am I saying I'm sad because I think I'm letting you down, or I'm letting our family down, or I'm letting me down, or whatever it is, and I was processing some of this, and I was like, I think I just need more time. Like, I need to find more time. I either need to get up earlier or stay up later, like, because I don't want to get rid of anything that I'm doing. I can't get rid of anything that I'm doing. And everything that you just said right now, all of those things sounded like things that you can't get rid of. And then, so now I'm like verbally processing. We're both in you just described to me like a deep feeling, like a welled up feeling of like, dude, I don't want to be pulled in so many directions. I'm not doing anything well. I don't want to be pulled in so many directions that, I'll leave it there.
Yeah,
I want to do things well. You want to know why? Because I have an example of like, if I squat poorly over time, I'm going to end up in an awful place. My body will end up in an awful place. If this continues,
if I just do movements that don't get me fit, like if all I do is single unders and dumbbell snatches, every day, maybe some rowing here and there, like I'm missing out on something, right? I'm missing out on all these other components of fitness that I could be developing. But like, what's the one thing I can do that's the most effective that translates over to the most things? Would be like, okay, well, let me get into the realm of like the thruster or the squat, something like that, that builds the capacity in other areas in CrossFit. Taking that back to what you're talking about in your life, like you're saying, I don't feel like I have time. You know, it's like, well, what can I do that's most important that translates over to as many facets of my life as I can think of, and I'm going to do that, and that's going to be priority number one.
Right.
You know, and then,
right.
you know, you work your way down the list of your priorities and you focus on those things.
Mm-hmm.
That's just immediately like the thing that I thought of between the carryover between what we're talking about in CrossFit. Does that make sense? Like there's some movements that are more effective. There's some things in your life that you do that are more effective that translate over into, and trickle into other areas. Like if you've prioritized your relationship with your wife.
Yes.
Everything else is better.
Yeah.
You know, people twist it and say whatever they might want to say,
sure.
but that's just the way that it works. But in doing that, you're also making yourself better by giving to someone else a piece of you or a part of you, right? You're sacrificing. You're making the sacrifice for another person, and that teaches you a lot. But like something like that, if you prioritize something like that, then it carries over into a lot of other things because, you know, then you might have a day like that that's challenging, and she's willing to help.
Yeah. It's interesting that in the beginning of CrossFit, the conversation, or there was often a question that came up, which was like, if you could only do one movement, which one would you choose? Did you ever answer that question?
I always said squat.
I always said deadlift.
Yeah.
But when I got here, I realized that the answer should be squat.
Yeah.
Do you still think that should be the answer?
I still like the answer for that to be squat. Yeah.
I think I do too.
I just think has the best carryover into the most things. And I'm not going to pick something like running or rowing, you know.
No.
I'm not going to pick a double under
or
box jump. I'm not going to pick a body weight movement.
Yeah, I don't think the running. I think the Silas example from earlier, like Silas squats.
Yeah. It's funny that you pick a weightlifting movement.
I think it's something about loaded.
Strength movement.
Yeah, like because it does so much more for the nervous system. It does more than
you can get your cardio with a barbell.
Right.
My favorite kind of cardio.
Yes, it's my favorite kind of cardio.
For sure. That's why people like CrossFit, huh?
I think so.
Gets your cardio in a different place, in a different way.
Yeah.
Not just running.
So tell me one more thing, and then I need to go roast coffee. Also, you still in for to run the 5K, the Bee's Knees?
Yeah. When is it?
It's 2 weekends from now.
2 weekends from now?
Yeah.
Okay.
2 Saturdays.
Bell's Mill?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to beat you.
I'll be there.
I'm going to run fast.
I don't think you can beat me, but I'll be there.
All right, I'll report back. I'm going to start training. Bee's
you might. I ran for 30 minutes yesterday and
roast coffee. Whew. Oh, that's why I brought it up. Sport. I'm curious if the only negative to CrossFit is if it takes you away from playing sport. Because it's so fun, so addictive, it's so good for you symbolically across the board. This thing is like where I want you to be. However, but it's actually like where I want you to be because it propels you, it sends you out into the world, right? Like I don't want you to go to, like as a Christian, I don't want you to go to church every day out of the week to not leave. Like I don't want you to go to church and then not leave. Like I want you to be out doing, using.
To go take those things and use them in the world, right?
Take them and use them, right? And that's the biggest critique of the Christian in general is like, you hypocrite, you go here, leave, and are nothing like it. You don't care. You don't whatever.
Easy, yeah.
CrossFit does this thing where it's like building this incredible fitness, this incredible athlete, and then like I'm curious, like who knows? I'm going to throw out Mal O'Brien. She's young, 17, 18, 19. I assume she does not play any more sports. The last person we had sort of like her was Lauren Fisher. And Lauren Fisher was a basketball player. And then this CrossFit thing translated into her fitness. And she was using it to be better at basketball and then figured out she was really good at it and then did the games thing.
It became a sport in and of itself.
It became a sport in and of itself, but it doesn't come with coordination. Like at the games, like, bro.
They don't test it. If they tested it, it would come with it. If they tested it, more athletes. That's the thing. Yeah, that's the thing about the programming and why it's important. And that's what Dave did. He always pushed the athletes outside of...
Like throw a softball as far as you can or something.
Yeah, you notice they never did that again.
Why?
Because it was so bad. Because some people that were really good at it couldn't throw a ball.
So it just made them look bad.
Yeah, I'm like, go throw a ball.
Oh, shoot.
I don't know. That was what I had... surmise from the watching it. It was embarrassing. I was embarrassed to watch it.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back.
But I mean, it's like that. There's a lot of things where you look poor. You know, you can't be good at everything, but you can be athletic, and athletic is very hard to train into somebody. Like it's one of those things you kind of have. It's like you have speed or you don't. Mm-hmm. You don't go from being the slowest person in the field to just all of a sudden being the fastest sprinter in the field. That just doesn't happen. I'm sorry. That doesn't happen. Like you either have speed or you don't. That's one thing.
Yeah, they're I wonder if they were like, what if like there was like an archery event or something? Like something like
fun. I love archery.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to think of something that like that would be good. Like, I mean, you would have an extreme advantage if you've ever shot a bow and arrow. But just something like that, like it seems, or, and I'm bringing this up a little bit too because you're starting to see athletes like middle school, high school athletes that only play one sport, and it's becoming detrimental.
Okay, well,
like they're starting to see it. And I don't know how to talk about it or what to say about it, but
all right, well, let's come back right to that. One year in the games, they threw a sprint in, and it had a hurdle. Mm-hmm. That's their attempt at doing something like that.
Yeah.
What they did with the rules was they made a rule that your foot, this hurdle was a small hurdle.
Yeah.
Like a short, meaning like a foot and a half wide or whatever it was, 2 feet wide. Your foot couldn't go outside of that or they added a half second to your score. And it was like, that's not, so if you look at a hurdler, that's not how you run hurdles. You don't jump over the hurdles. You are supposed to stay as low to the ground, and your foot goes around kind of like over top the hurdle, but your hip internally rotates, your foot picks up, and you go over the hurdle.
Right.
You couldn't run your hurdles like that. So it's like they set too many rules on that, or stipulations on that one event. It should have just been get over the hurdle. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
They try to do things like that, but you also notice that the athletes that are athletic and have played sports in the past do well at the games.
Yeah.
Like they exceed usually at the games.
Yes.
Because they do have these small little elements that like the 1%, you're 1% better, 5% better than the person next to you because you're a little bit more athletic, and you can compensate for your lack of knowledge in that area with your athleticism.
Right.
And you then you would win an event because of that.
Right.
Lately, all it comes down to is your body mechanics, your positioning, and your efficiency. Mm-hmm. So I think the biggest thing that CrossFit Games athletes are not looking at today, and maybe the last 10 years, is efficiency of movement and your body position and your positions of leverage. And like I see somebody move, and I watch them from a mechanical point of view, right? Like you could be more efficient if you had a little better mobility here.
Yes.
And you had a little less resistance in this movement. Like if you were going overhead for 100 reps in the thruster, and you're so tight that you can't stand and get your bicep behind your ear without blowing up your shoulders, you're not going to win against me in 100 thrusters for time because you're going to blow up.
Right.
You know, it's like that's kind of what they test when they do something like 50 strict handstand push-ups into 200-foot handstand walk. Mm-hmm. They're testing something like that. So it comes down to who's just more efficient in the movement. Mm-hmm. So like that's what it's been about. It hasn't been about who's the most athletic. It seems like it's been more about efficiency.
So
than it is about athleticism. Because
Right.
athleticism is not, I don't know if it is the same thing as efficiency. It's something close to it. They're like in the same area, but they're in the same realm, but they're not the same thing.
Right.
Like I wouldn't say the most athletic athlete is also the most efficient athlete. And they're most efficient in specific areas like agility or coordination or balance or timing.
Yeah.
But they might not be the best in like something like strength.
Right.
But that's not what they're displaying when they're displaying their athleticism. If that makes sense, I'm kind of thinking this through in my head.
You're sort of talking like intelligence. I immediately thought of what's made Tom Brady so good, and one of the things that's made him so good is this. I'll call it vision. He understands. We'll talk about. You could just go quarterbacking. You could have an elite passer, let's say the most accurate passer, by himself with a football, and he's throwing at targets, stationary targets. And then let's just think about, all right, and he goes 10 for 10. And then you move the targets, and they're sort of static, whatever it is. 10 for 10. Now you go into a game-like scenario where your receiver has a defender on him. What most people watch this season, watch what he does. He throws receivers open. So he's going to say, run this specific route, but be open, like know in your mind that there are like 3 or 4 subtle cues to me that I'm going to see. That means I'm going to throw it in this zone, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. And each of those zones is different depending on the defender, not you, not anything else other than I need to get you to catch this ball, and I'm going to throw it in that zone because that defender is in that place. That's the efficiency thing that most people don't ever talk about quarterbacking wise, or just athletically, or this translation into point guarding or playing soccer or you know whatever it might be. I don't really know what it is for baseball. Maybe pitchers have it, and there's different pitches and different finesse and those sorts of things. But that's the thing that's one of the things that makes him great.
Yeah. How's that? So
why is that why is
No,
why
I
are those,
see.
okay.
I'm trying to explain it in a different way. Sorry, I was thinking about something else. Yeah, I mean that's something that's hard to teach as well. It's hard to give away. That's what, like athleticism. It's something that's hard to give away. Also, which is why I have trouble like quantifying it. Which is why they have trouble testing it.
I was gonna ask you the question right before you started into that, which was, do you think you can take a quarterfinals qualifier and get them to the semifinals that didn't make it this year?
Depends on the person.
Do you think you can take a semifinals competitor this year and get them to the games?
Again, same thing. It depends on the person.
So if that person is listening to this, what would you say to them? What type of person is it then? That's
what I'm having trouble quantifying.
Is it just a desire? Is it what are they missing? Like, cause they want to go, but
it's hard to explain what they are. That's the thing that's difficult. If you can learn what that is and you can give that away, then you have something of value to give other people.
Right, and I think you have something value. I think you have that. Let's go to the games. Do you think you can take an average games competitor and get them to the podium?
I mean, the games competitor? Yeah, because I think the difference between the average games competitor and the CrossFit Games champion are slim. Is it like there's a small margin there? It's doable. Yeah, I'm going to say yes because I don't believe I'm the most gifted person, yet I won the CrossFit Games. Physically. I don't think I'm the most gifted person.
Hmm.
I think there's a lot more that goes into it than just physicality. Like the Tom Brady thing that you talk about.
Yeah.
It's the same idea.
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot of things that are intangible type things that are difficult to give away that are the reason why you can excel above the field.
Mm-hmm. So when you're coaching, my mind is racing now. But to boil it down to just like a good talking point real quick, like what do you think is something to give to your peers at this point?
This is the why you're talking about marketability.
Mm-hmm.
Come train with me. I can show you.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you. I can't tell you. I'm not going to go on Instagram and share with you this thing that's this secret or something. But like, come train with me every day for 3 months and you'll figure it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do know what you mean because I think I know.
You'll get it then.
I know of another figure that said something like, follow me. And that was the only way to see. Everybody else nobody else really got it other than the cats that decided to say, okay, yeah, I'll go with you.
That was what Glassman said about CrossFit in the beginning, That was the way he described CrossFit. He's like, come to 5 a.m. to the workout tomorrow. I'll show you what CrossFit is. It's like, I don't know. There's a lot to it, and that's why it's so fascinating.
That's really fascinating, too, because in what I do with Young Life, with my ministry, when, I'm like, hey, do you want to come to Young Life today? They're like, what is it? I'm like, bro, I actually can't describe to you what this is. So you just come through, like come show up and you'll get it.
Yeah. Like imagine if you described the things that you're actually talking about in a way that in some way you'd sound like a crazy person.
No, I would sound like a lunatic.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, for
if
sure.
Go try to describe what CrossFit is to somebody else. Yeah. You sound like a lunatic. That's why they call you, that's why they say you're in a cult.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you just.
Young Life's a cult, CrossFit's a cult.
Sure.
I'm attracted to cults, apparently. That's really interesting. That's pretty fascinating that you just said that.
I'm going to be thinking about this all week now.
Yep.
This is interesting.
Yeah, it was really good. I really appreciate you doing this today. I was in a bad place this morning. I was at a bad place. This really lifted my spirits. This is really positive. This is really good for me just to do this, just to hang.
I agree. I feel the same way.
So appreciate you.
About my day. Yeah, if you guys have any other topics that you want us to talk about, discuss, think about live, let us know. So
Bitcoin to the moon, dog. I'm calling it 100K Bitcoin by the end of the month.
April.
End of April.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. We'll see.
Hooty hoo.